the faith they hear on Redeemer Radio and share it even further. Your support will help spread the seeds of faith right here in our community.
Let the Holy Spirit work through your generosity. Give securely online by going to redeemerradio.com and click Give Now or call 260-436-9598.
Redeemer Radio is just part of our day. It's not only on in our cars, but we stream it on in our living room, and a lot of times, even if we're not actively listening to the radio, it's the background noise that exists. And I like it because my 7-year-old son will hear things and then ask questions, and it prompts him to get even more involved as well. So Redeemer Radio is truly just a staple in our everyday life.
Here we go, guys.
So,
welcome to the Redeemer Radio 95.7 Sports Intern Hour. We've got our student interns from Marian and St. Joe with us. We have 3 of our seniors right now. The principals will be coming on in about 20 minutes or so, a half hour or so, and then we will have our juniors from our class coming on. Not everyone able to make it here, but we've got 7 of our 12 interns from this year with us here. So we've got Teo Sanchez and Kellen Sharp, seniors at St. Joe. Meghan McCormick, a senior at Marian, joining us here for this hour, and we hope that you can call or text GIVE to 260-436-9598 or make a donation online at redeemerradio.com and just select the intern hour. You can go to redeemerradio.com/intern hour as well to make your donation. We will start here in prayer as we do throughout our spring Sharathon. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Dear Lord, please bless us during this hour. Please bless our interns for all their great work they have done for us here at Redeemer Radio over the last year. They've been wonderful with us all year long, and we can't thank them enough for all the hard work they've done, and continue to bless and help all those out there who are listening to hopefully make a donation to keep Catholic radio going strong throughout Michiana and Fort Wayne. We can't thank all of you listening enough for all your support and your prayers here for the mission of Redeemer Radio and for our internship program here at 95.7 Sports. In the name of the Father, Son. So, all right, let's start with you guys just talking a little bit about your experiences in the internship program. Meghan, you were involved in football season. Kellen was involved in both football and basketball season, and then Teo just basketball season. So, Kellen, why don't you start as someone who did both semesters, just what your experience this year was like?
I mean, it was awesome. It's something that not a whole lot of people get to experience as high schoolers, to see what they want to do with their future. Me personally, I'd love to go into journalism. So being able to do that now and understand what it takes and how it all works is just it's awesome, and I love it.
Awesome. Meghan, how about you?
It's growing up playing sports and just watching from the stands. It was awesome to get like another point of view and feeling of like being on the sidelines and like almost feel like I'm on more teams. So it was just a great experience. I sadly only got to experience football, but I'd redo it if I could.
How about you, Teo?
Doing this past 2 years, it was amazing. This was like one of my favorite things to do. Being able to follow the basketball teams, I really liked it. I'm a big sports fan, so watching all these players grow mentally and physically was great.
All right, you can call or text GIVE 260-436-9598 or go to redeemerradio.com. We have one more donation to announce from the St. Elizabeth's Hour, last hour. Brian Smith, thank you for your gift. And we appreciate that you made a donation to St. Elizabeth Hour. All right, so Teo, you mentioned doing it both years as a junior and a senior. How did things change from year one to year two? By the way, I should mention we're trying to raise $4,500 in this hour. The interns have done a great job fundraising themselves, so I think they raised the goal on us, guys. So you got to help us out. Whoever's listening right now, call or text GIVE 260-436-9598. By the way, the next time that number's read, it better be by you guys. So you guys got to show your skill sets now as the host. But Teo, just the changes things for you throughout these 2 years of how different it was maybe as a junior to maybe the growth that you had as a senior.
Yeah, so as a junior, I was a very quiet kid. It was very hard for me to get out of my comfort zone, go ask questions and all that. I didn't like going out on the court taking pictures until you started like banging that into my head. And then this year, yeah, this was like easy for me. I was able to get comfortable. I was in my comfort zone. Or later in my junior year and early in my senior year, being able to do these sideline interviews, be able to do longer interviews, ask more questions, be able to go on the court, take better pictures and all that. And I had a really good time. COVID was able to release too, and it was easier to like talk to people here without like being 6 feet apart from each other.
And you know what's interesting? Just your answer right there shows the growth. I think this time last year you were probably growing at that point, but I don't know if you would have been able to say your answer as long as you did right there, right? Because as you mentioned, being shy. And that's one of the things that I love about our program is that we can hopefully break you guys out of your shells. Now, Meghan, we didn't have to break out of her shell. She was outgoing from the beginning. Meghan, take us through some of the different things you kind of learned throughout the semester that, really maybe might help you in other ways moving forward here, whether it's going to be in college or beyond that.
Well, I think I definitely learned a lot about myself that, like, I can talk more than I can show. Like, just like my relatives would come up and tell my mom, like, I don't think I've ever heard Meghan talk as much as she does as when, like, a microphone's in front of her. So, like...
So wait a minute. Are you actually a quiet person otherwise?
Yeah, I don't talk much unless a mic is in front of me.
Which is so funny because on the air, she is so outgoing and she's so witty and she makes so many comments. I didn't even realize that, but I guess that's kind of true. Kellen, you were in class with her last semester. Maybe she was a little quiet at times unless we called on her specifically.
I mean, a little bit, but she definitely feels like a more energetic person, especially when you get to know her a little more. And that's another bonus of having this internship. You get to make connections with people you probably wouldn't otherwise.
Yeah, you guys we always talk about Marian and St. Joe, and there's the rivalry and everything like that, but I think you guys have an opportunity to cross over and get to know people from the other school, and I imagine that's been pretty cool for you guys as well.
I mean, absolutely. Like I said, people that you don't know from other schools or sometimes people that go to your school that you would never meet otherwise it's nice because you get to. It doesn't hurt to have more friends.
That's true. All right, I'm. By the way, you guys give out the number. I don't care who it is because I've got a
call
tweet
or text. Give to 260-436-9598 to please help raise donations for this intern hour.
All right, and what else can we do? RedeemerRadio.com. Who wants to read that one off? That's an easy one. I just said it. RedeemerRadio.com.
You can also donate securely online at RedeemerRadio.com.
And you can watch us on YouTube or Facebook as well if you want to support us that way. That's another method as I'm tweeting away. Support the intern hour. See, this is actually a Facebook post. See, this is great radio and internship experiencing. Okay. All right. Done with that on that part. Okay, guys, what else in terms of like we talk about like the growth. Kellen, how did you find yourself growing from? You did 2 semesters, so how did you find yourself growing from August to this point? In terms of the program.
Well, it's a lot like Teo. I tend to be a more quiet person, and I always kind of shy away when it comes to talking in front of groups or knowing people are going to listen to me. So like Teo, I had to learn quickly, but since I didn't have a whole year to do it, I did it back-to-back semesters. It happened a lot quicker, and I would say it got a lot better when I got to basketball season because that's just a sport that I know a little more than football. And when we have opportunities to talk to coaches and fellow friends and players, it also helps a lot just to get in your comfort zone.
Teo, we've got a familiar name as our first donation if you want to read that off the board. Oh, you're not seeing it, of course. You're going to have to scroll down. Why don't you scroll down there a little bit? That one's not updated for you. Keep on going. All the way down. And do you see it? I think you'll recognize that name.
Oh, thank you to Deborah Konechny for the first donation to the Marian and St. Joe Hour. She's had 2 great sons come past this St. Joe basketball team.
Yeah, so you guys have got to cover them over the last couple of years. JR got she's a little busy, so she made that donation while being a little busy, right? Because they got a big game tonight. JR, freshman, of course, for Notre Dame, and then Chase is a freshman at St. Joe and had a great first year. What were some of the things that you guys kind of learned in the program that, like, in terms of something that was really hard that you had to overcome during the semester?
Well, I was terrible at interviews at first. At least I think I was. As you just go through, you learn what questions to ask, how to read what a person's trying to say, and the emotions they're giving through their answers. And that way you're able to kind of build off your interview. And I think that's a very important skill to have, especially in journalism.
Teo, how about for you?
Yeah, I'd probably say like sideline interviews, just trying to get back into the swing of things. Like I took a year off, like I took a semester off playing football, and then I come back and I have to like get right back into it. I gotta remember what questions to ask. It's a brand new team because they lost a whole bunch of senior stars from the previous year. I had to get used to a few new names and then figure out how they were going to do this year.
All right, our goal for this hour is $4,500. Megan, you want to read off the number of how people can call or text?
Call or text to give us money at 260-436-9598.
And you could also donate at RedeemerRadio.com as well. What about for you, Megan? What was maybe something that was tough that you had to overcome during the semester?
I think just definitely like responding to the coach's answer. Like if they didn't really give you a good answer, you had to like quickly think of another question that you might not have prepared yourself for. So definitely just like fast reactions to whatever you were given.
All right. She brings up an interesting point. You guys kind of hinted at it. So for those that are listening that maybe don't listen to the games, maybe people in Fort Wayne who don't realize what the program's all about, it's also a class for credit. These guys are getting class credit to come in on Mondays, and that's awesome. And we get to give them instruction, and they're part of our football and basketball games broadcast. They're sideline reporters, camera operators. They're doing all these different things. But you know what's neat about it is that they get to do the sideline interview with the head coach. And that is something that is not the easiest thing to do. And, you know, Teo or Kellen, just what's the how difficult is it to do that sideline interview? And maybe how much does that allow you guys to have to think on your feet to prepare you in other ways of life as well?
Yeah, it totally has to make you think, get on your feet, think of other questions to ask, because I will say this. My first interview coming back against Adams, it was a post-game interview with Chase and Coach Gaff. And I asked, what does it feel like to get this first win? And Coach Gaff says, it feels great, but it's nothing like being able to be engaged to my wife. That was his like number one thing ever happened in his life. And then I just blinked. I didn't know any other questions to ask or anything. And I just stopped the interview right there and headed back to you guys. But just having to be able to think on your feet, think of questions to ask, especially like when you're going to interviews later in life and you got to ask questions to your interviewer to ask like what job you want. It'll be helpful for that.
All right, we've got an interesting donation. Someone who is kind of on both sides of the rivalry. That's Brett Badick. So you guys, look at this comment. They said, the interns are great. Both St. Joe and Marian fans are blessed to have this coverage every year. Can't wait until the Holy War on the Lynx gets some love. Okay, there you go. He wants to get some golf coverage as well. So Coach Badick, offense coordinator for Marian football, but he's also the golf coach at St. Joe. So that's a new one. Okay, and then at the bottom of our screen, we're seeing a couple more as well. What do we have there? Coach Davidson made a donation, and then also Pete Horvath. So thank you to Pete Horvath as well. We have a couple donations that came in that are for some of the juniors. They'll read off some of those names coming up later on. So, guys, why don't you go around? Teo, why don't you say some of the names of the people that you want to thank that donated on behalf of you?
Yeah, I would like to thank my mom and dad, Leonard and Michelle Sanchez, my aunt, Colleen Toole, and my grandparents, Tom and Karen Van Meter. And I'd also like to thank for Ellie Dixon, Bradley Scalcup.
I'd like to thank my parents, Amy Kentz and Craig Sharp, and my grandparents, Kathy and Martin Albright. On behalf of Ellie Dixon, I would also like to thank Mrs. O'Brien, Amy O'Brien, and Julie Peterson.
All right, and Ellie Dixon, one of our great interns, she's in Italy right now, so we don't feel bad for her at all. She's having a great time. She sent in her list of names, and she said Italy's awesome, which I wish I was there as well. So, Megan, who would you like to thank?
I'd like to thank my parents, Richard and Jody McCormick, for donating, and also Tom Dugash and Angela Smith.
Okay, sounds good. So we've got, those are a bunch of the donations for some of the seniors that they've done. We'll have a lot of the other donations coming in as well throughout this hour. Again, our goal is $4,500 in this hour here. You can call or text give 260-436-9598 or go to RedeemerRadio.com or the Redeemer Radio app to make a pledge as well. What's something that I'm not thinking of that we should talk about here before we let you guys go in about 5 or 6 minutes. What's something from the program that you guys experienced that we haven't brought up that you want to let people know out there that are listening?
It brings a good sense of pride because it's work that a high school student can at least claim some credit for and feel good and feel good about it because it's a respected place that Redeemer Radio is, and to have your name be somewhat a part of it is awesome.
I think it's definitely like one of the best compliments you can receive is like when like people like you don't even really know or like parents are like thanking you for like interviewing their kid or like shouting out their kid during a game. It's just like you get like kind of prideful of like, wow, like I'm actually like people are actually listening and remembering like I was a part of that. So it just feels really good to like people seeing that.
Being able to get experience that you can use like later in life, even like social media. We were able to get some like social media tips and advice to be able to use that later in life because that's going to be big heading up in our world.
All right, and then we've certainly talked about it being a class and everything like that. How thankful are you guys that that we have the program? I mean, I got to be a part of a student TV station when I was in high school. How nice is it so that I know you guys are all figuring out college? Well, actually, let's start there. Teo, do you know yet what your plans are for college exactly?
I either want to go into sports journalism or sports
Management?
management. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. And I'm either going to think of IU or Ball State.
Okay. How about you, Kellen?
I will also be doing either sports management or sports journalism at either Ball State or IUPUI.
How about you, Megan?
I'm thinking IU Bloomington, and I know for a fact I'm going to major in elementary education, but I also want to do stuff involved with like sports broadcasting thanks to this internship.
How has the internship maybe helped you guys in terms of figuring stuff out? Being a part of it, seeing it, maybe it's helped you in any of these decisions of what you want to do. Has the internship done that in some form for each of you guys?
Absolutely. I mean, I knew that I wanted to do something in sports, and I wasn't entirely sure what it was. But having the ability to choose and do this internship really allowed me to focus on the fact that I want to do journalism and become more professional at it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great experience for me being able to use it, like moving on, using it for college, being able to, if I want to go into like a sports media thing in college and do it for their college, I'd have enough experience to help me do that. And yeah, it's able to help me.
And Megan, while you might not go into sports broadcasting per se, and you might go into elementary education, how has this experience maybe will help you in the future in that regard?
Definitely just like being able to talk to people and be comfortable. And then, like, for, like, when I have, like, parent meetings for, say, like, just talking to a parent, like, it would kind of be like an interview in a way. So, like, just, like, having responses for them, this has definitely helped me prepare for that.
All right, Megan, you want to read off the last two names on that list there? We've got some familiar names I believe you would have there. Can you see those down there? We got to get you some glasses or contacts. Are you all right there?
No, not really. Thank you to Steve and Colleen Ravato for your donation.
And they like to say, nice job to all the Marian interns out there. Okay, Kellen, you want to give out the number and let people know how they can make a donation?
You can donate. Text GIVE 260-436-9598, or also you can donate at redeemerradio.com.
I love how you guys switch it up. You guys just don't decide to read just straight off the thing. You see, I've made you guys too complicated. You just spin it your own way. You can also call that number 260-436-9598. Really good job here. We got a couple minutes left with these guys. By the way, for those that are listening, hey, if you want to support these guys, this is great. What we're trying to do at Redeemer Radio, we're trying to get to a younger education, younger age group, excuse me. Well, this is maybe even younger than that but we're giving opportunities to the interns. But we can't make that happen if we can't pay for the radio tower and we can't keep the lights on here in the studio and everything like that. So, even if you're in another parish, you're not involved with St. Joe or Marian in any way, you could still call and make a pledge on behalf of these great young interns from St. Joe and Marian and all the things that they have done. We're trying to raise $4,500 in this hour. So please make a pledge, call it in, 260-436-9598, redeemerradio.com, or the Redeemer Radio app. We've got another name up there. Who wants to read this one off? This is a new name that I have not seen yet here today.
We have received a donation from Jonathan Watts. Thank you, Mr. Watts.
All right, great. Is that anyone knows? No? That's good. That's fine. We love it. We love having the donations come in from the people that we all know, as well as the people we may not recognize out that might just enjoy the performances. Currently at $670. Please call in now, 260-436-9598. Call or text GIVE to 260-436-9598 on the Holy Cross College text line, or go to RedeemerRadio.com or the Redeemer Radio app. Okay, finally, guys, want to give you an opportunity. Maybe if there is a parent out there listening, a grandparent out there listening, or someone's listening that's a student out there at Marian or St. Joe, or 7th or 8th grader looking at the future, what would you say is a reason why they should take part in this program maybe in years to come?
It's just an all-around great experience. You get to meet people you haven't met before, make good friends, and you're able to figure out what you might want to do with your future, which at this time in your life is a very complicated thing to do.
Teo?
Yeah, if you're a fan of sports, if you want to go into journalism, if you want to do anything like that, just give this a try. It's so much fun. My mom got me into this, and I have no regrets.
I definitely recommend this program to anybody. You like sports, you don't like sports. It's just something to do. Have fun with it, and don't feel like you're gonna be left out of the student section or miss out on any other opportunities, because this is an even bigger opportunity than standing in the stands, because you still can get that opportunity while doing this program, and I feel like that made it even better, because you get your friends to take a selfie or get posted online, and then it's just all around funny for everyone.
One last thing. I was going to try to get you guys out of here at 5:25 so that we could get the principals in here and then the juniors, but I forgot to ask this. You guys all had the opportunity to do play-by-play for the JV Holy War game, all three of you guys. What was that experience like to have to play my role for a night and be able to be in that position of being the play-by-play and an analyst?
The thing is, the job took more than one night. It was an all-week event. We were practicing all week. We were getting stats. Me and Teo were trying to memorize names. The build-up was difficult and kind of anxiety-building, but once you're in there, it's fun, and you hold a lot of respect for the people that do it.
Yeah, you do hold a lot of respect for the people that do it. It is really fun to do. I did not anticipate it to be so fast-paced. I mean, I'm used to watching basketball. I'm used to, pretending to call it out, but it's super fast-paced. But I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, you don't really realize how fast the game really goes until you're the one that has to talk for 50 seconds straight, and then you just are praying that a ball goes out of bounds or something happens so you can take a break.
Which is hilarious, Megan, for you to say that since you're a basketball player. So the fact that even it felt fast for you makes it that much better. All right, we're going to let these guys go. Our senior interns, thank you guys for a great job all year long. And we've loved the work you guys have done this year. And we're going to take a break, let you learn a little bit more about how you can make a pledge. But in the meantime, you can call or text GIVE 260-436-9598 or go to RedeemerRadio.com, or if you want to go directly to it, RedeemerRadio.com/intern hour. We'll be back with the principals from both high schools and then our junior interns coming up a little bit later on. You're listening to the Spring Sharathon on Redeemer Radio.
Matthew's Gospel tells the story of crowds gathered to listen to Jesus for so long that they became hungry. Rather than send them away for food, Jesus challenged them to share what they had, 5 loaves and 2 fish, with the crowd. But how would there be enough food? Jesus asked them to trust God would provide, and there would be enough for everyone, plus some left over. Redeemer Radio has been blessed with support over the years to help people like you grow in faith. And God has called us to look outside our circle and feed the nearby crowd. Who do we see in the crowd? A younger generation, family members, our own children, grandchildren, and godchildren, leaving the church in alarming numbers. They rarely listen to FM radio and prefer podcasts and audio on demand. Redeemer Radio has expanded its mission and created the Spoke Street Media Network to reach them. Like the multiplication of the bread and fish, we trust God will provide the necessary resources, with some left over. Thank you for your support, which gives us the opportunity to provide authentically Catholic content to those who don't realize they're hungry or who alone can fill them.
It's so easy to turn the station and to listen to rants and ugliness and the Twitter mob on social media, or the acidity of talk radio, and it's not good for you. You have to know what's going on in the world, but you do not have to immerse yourself in vitriol and anger. And so for me, it's a great alternative. Sometimes I listen to music. Sometimes I drive in silence. Most of the time I listen to Redeemer Radio.
Help us amplify the voice of God. Pledge now by calling or texting GIVE to 260-436-9598.
This is Dr. David Anders, host of Called to Communion, heard here on Redeemer Radio weekdays from 2 to 3 p.m. On Called to Communion, we take calls from non-Catholics and answer questions about what's keeping them from becoming Catholic. Thank you for listening to and supporting Catholic programming like Called to Communion, heard right here on Redeemer Radio.
It costs about $150 to provide Redeemer Radio listeners with 1 hour of Catholic programming. All donors who give this amount or more automatically qualify for a specially designed t-shirt. Call today and support Redeemer Radio's efforts to amplify the voice of the Creator with content that invites.
It's easy to become a Redeemer Radio supporter. Volunteers are standing by and lines are open for you. Call or text GIVE to 260-436-9598.
Help us continue reaching souls for Christ. Call or text GIVE to the Holy Cross College text line at 260-436-9598 or donate online at redeemerradio.com. This is Redeemer Radio Sharathon. Thank you for tuning in to your listener-supported local Catholic radio station.
And welcome back here to our Spring Sharathon. This is our Marian and St. Joe Intern Hour. I'm Angelo DiCarlo, your host. I don't even think I mentioned my name last one. I run the internship program here, and I'm the sports director at 95.7 Sports. You can call or text GIVE 260-436-9598. Call or text GIVE 260-436-9598, or go to redeemerradio.com. You can also make it even more simple for yourself. You can go to redeemerradio.com/intern hour to make a pledge as well. We have a couple more pledges that just came in. Troy Terry has made a pledge, as well as Gerald Boxberger has made a pledge to this hour as well. So thank you to them. Right now we have the principals from each school. John Kennedy from St. Joe, Mark Kirzider from Marian joining us here. And Mark, we'll start with you. This is our 4th year of the internship program, our 2nd year for class credit. Just what are your observations as you watch your high school students take part in this, and what a cool experience it's been to have them be a part of it?
Yeah, well, first, thank you, Angelo, for being willing to mentor our students. It's not every day that our students get an opportunity to work with a professional who's been in the business. And I think that certainly adds to the richness of the experience and adds to the value that they see. From my perspective, I can see the products that they produce, through Twitter, Facebook. I get to see the kids in the gym and on the football field. It's really amazing to see them conduct themselves as professionals. John and I were just talking. It's kind of hilarious, from a standpoint of you just don't expect it when they grab a coach when they're running off the floor and do the halftime interview. And when they do the interviews during practice, and you see those things posted on social media, it's obvious to me that they're getting a valuable experience. We're talking to some of the students out there. Some of them are really considering broadcast as a career. So I mean, without this opportunity, our students wouldn't be getting these sorts of experiences, and it's certainly invaluable to our school communities to offer this. This great opportunity. So thank you, and I think it adds nothing but richness to our community.
John, how about you?
Yeah, a lot of the same. At first, I want to say thank you, Ange, for hosting our students through the intern program and providing that opportunity, and for having us on today. Our students are amazing, right? And we see it when they're doing those things, when they're on the sideline at a game, or they're doing an interview, leading up to the game. In football, those are always a lot of fun during the week of the game when they're interviewing somebody after a practice or during a practice, that kind of thing. So, they step up, and the thing is, like, we see that, at both our schools, in the hallways and in the classrooms every day, the way our students conduct themselves. They're just intelligent, fun, faithful, hardworking, young people who have a lot to contribute. And this gives them an opportunity to shine in a little different way than just the other opportunities at school, in the classroom, on the athletic field, and things like that. This is a unique situation for them where they really get to do, have some real life experience with you here at Redeemer.
I'm just happy we're able to make it work, over time. Bobby Klaska deserves the credit for coming up with the initial idea of the internship program, and he helped put me together with Redeemer Radio 4 years ago when it came on. And then when we were deciding to make this a class, it was right in the heart of the pandemic, and you guys didn't have a day off because, graduation's moving to June and all this. And I can't thank you guys enough, because you guys were able to make that happen, a year and a half ago, and take the time of, okay, how do we make this into an actual class, and what do we have to do? Because I know you guys were extremely busy when we were talking in, January or February that year of making this happen and advancing it. We thought we had a little bit more time on our hands in terms of your guys' schedules, but I'm happy we were able to make that happen. But it's been a wild 2 years in that regard, and in so many ways. All right, we've got Kathy Kirshner has made a pledge. Mr. Kennedy has made a pledge. Marian High School has made a pledge. So thank you as well there. And I know Marian is also going to do a dress down day next month as well. So that'll be another donation that comes in as well. So a couple more of those pledges. If you want to jump on the train as well, call or text GIVE 260-436-9598. RedeemerRadio.com or the Redeemer Radio app. Perhaps you're a teacher at St. Joe or Marian, you're listening, an employee at St. Joe or Marian, make the call so that your bosses can see that you're supporting the hour, Get a couple brownie points here a little bit and show a little support to the great interns that we have here at Redeemer Radio as well. And then we have Elaine Damaris. Oh, that's Rue's mom, isn't it? Rue was one of our original interns back when we didn't know what we were doing 4 years ago. And, that brings me to a point. That class, we are seeing it. John Jacob Morse, now at Syracuse, my alma mater, and Marie Ashkar is there as well. But Jake is on the air for WAER Public Radio in Syracuse, broadcasting Syracuse men's basketball games. I mean, he broadcasted the Syracuse Notre Dame game. It's just really cool to see now the ways these guys have taken this. And Jake was a great kid to start, and now to see him make that stride is that much cooler.
Yeah, and you better watch out. They might come back and try to take your job.
I'm pretty sure that's going to happen eventually.
So again, like, that just goes to what I was saying before. Our students are amazing. They're ambitious and outgoing, and they're so talented in so many ways. So I'm not surprised that they're making those strides. And one of the things that is great is just that, they get to dip their toe in the water. They get to decide, this is something I want to pursue, or sometimes they decide maybe this isn't something I want to pursue. But I think the skills that you gain from doing something like this, the communication skills, problem solving, collaboration, working with others, meeting deadlines, taking feedback, right? Because I'm sure they don't all start out doing perfect work, and you have to give them feedback and correction.
No, they don't all start out doing perfect work. Some of them still not doing perfect work, but we give them the feedback, and then they get better, and that's the key.
So they learn a lot,
and it's in high pressure environment. It's in a way similar to like a sport. I mean, it's in a high pressure environment. Sometimes the words of encouragement from the coach are not exactly that encouraging at moments, right? So that happens. Tommy Kostelny has made a pledge as well. Thank you to Tommy. Call or text GIVE 260-436-9598. Go to RedeemerRadio.com or the Redeemer Radio app. Our goal is $4,500 for this hour, so we are inching closer to that right now, but we need your help to get there. Call or text GIVE 260-436-9598. Mark, I mentioned Jake Morse. In that same class was John Brock, and John has kind of replaced me at times. John's been our analyst since he's been a freshman at Notre Dame on football, but he's also moved into and done play-by-play for us on nights when I'm out because, the birth of our child a year ago, and then I'm out for COVID 2 months ago, and John filled in. And he's done an excellent job representing Marian as well in those broadcasts. It's really cool to see his growth as well.
Yeah, obviously, great young man. Did he fill in for you too on Tailgate Talk, or was he on Tailgate Talk one morning for a Notre Dame football game? I think
he's filled in and helped out on Irish Sports Saturdays before, and then he was a co-host on Tailgate Talk on Friday night. So he's done the gamut, and which has been great. We use him in every way possible here at the station.
Yeah, and I mean certainly his experience, made him feel comfortable. But I mean, I also think, the overall experience of, like John said, the qualities that you need for public speaking, for improvisation. I mean, those things wouldn't be as accessible to him without a program like this. And certainly his ability to do that, I'm sure, speaks to the volume of the quality of the program. So
well, and I will also say this: you guys give us great students, so it's not like we're not starting from scratch. They come in with innate skills, and I think a lot of that is because of the great education they're getting at either St. Joe or Marian. And those are skills that, it makes my job easier. I think someone once said sometimes you don't realize you're not, what do they say? Sometimes you think you're a better teacher than you are because the students are that good. And I've noticed that over time. So I'm like, oh, that wasn't me. That was you. You're the one that knew what you were doing out of the gate. So, I would let you guys talk longer, but we got to get these other group of interns in here as well. So I just want to close out and say thank you to guys for making this all possible and allowing us to have this program with students from your two high schools. Thank you.
It's our pleasure.
Yeah, Anj, we really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, that is the two principals, Marian principal Mark Kirzider, St. Joe Principal John Kennedy. They're leaving the room, and our junior interns are going to come sliding in here as well because we have work to do. And you can call or text GIVE to 260-436-9598, or you can go to RedeemerRadio.com or on the Redeemer Radio app. So you guys will just slide in, and you can share the microphone. In fact, Brian, why don't you move this chair over, and Braedon bring that chair over. And then we'll have on. So coming on now, we don't have all the headsets, but I think you guys will be able to hear. So Braedon, you might have to go without a headset. Make sure you guys move the mic between you guys. So right now we have 3 St. Joe interns, 1 Marian intern with us here, Braedon Troy and Brian Gring. They were a part of our football season. And then Billy Madison is a part of our basketball season from St. Joe. And then Claire Watson has been a part of our basketball season from Marian. So, guys, thank you for being here. This has obviously all been the first year of the program for you guys. So I just want to go around the room and just each take us through your experience and what it was like for you this year being a part of the internship program. Billy, we'll start with you.
It's really been amazing. It's just been amazing with helping with the broadcasts and being a sideline reporter, and especially for someone like me who's interested in this in the future. I think it's I just had a great time, and I really enjoyed getting or seeing what it's like to broadcast a sports game.
Claire?
I think definitely one of the big things is that I came into this very nervous and I found it very nerve-wracking, but overall of the broadcast that we did, I definitely started to come out of my shell a little more, and I started to talk to more people, and I made a lot more friends, especially from St. Joe. So making those friends was really nice.
How about Brian?
I just had a really fun experience overall because I'm hoping to go into journalism in college, so just getting that whole behind-the-scenes experience and getting to run on the field, record videos, get the reports, all that stuff was just super, super fun.
All right, how about you for Braedon?
Yeah, this was absolutely, I think, one of the best parts of my high school experience. I honestly did this because Brian here just decided he wanted someone else to do the program with that he knew well from St. Joe, and I'm very happy that I was able to commit. I was able to have the time to do so, and I learned so much about sports media, sports broadcasting, but really just media in general, the process, and really everything that goes into it.
All right, you guys did a good job so far. Well, maybe not you guys because you've only been on for about a minute, so maybe the seniors deserve more credit for this. But you got a donation from Cindy Black. That's the boss. That's the boss of Redeemer Radio. So there you go. You get one, and then also a thank you to Lou Weber as well, who has made a donation. Claire, can you see that screen of who you want to give a shout out there?
All right, shout out to my little sister Ellie, who says, Claire Watson, my big sister, is the coolest intern.
All right, there you go. So that's good. Good to hear from Ellie as well, making her pledge, and we appreciate that as well. Meanwhile, I want you guys to do some work. So, Braedon, would you let everyone know who's listening right now how they can make a donation at this time?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, to make a donation, you can call or text GIVE to 260-436-9598. You can give securely online at redeemerradio.com or using the Redeemer Radio app, which you can watch on Facebook or YouTube.
All right, we're closing in our goal. We still got work to do. We're still not quite there. It's a big goal. It's $4,500. So we're trying to get there. Phone lines are open right now. So you heard that number, 260-436-9598. So you call right now. It's going to be really easy because the lines are open and we're ready to go to take your call. So give us a ring, 260-436-9598. You can also text that number, text GIVE to that number, or again, as Braedon mentioned, you can go to redeemerradio.com. Make a donation of $150, and you will support 1 hour of programming at Redeemer Radio, and that will get you well, you guys are all wearing the shirts. Share the good T-shirt as our thank you for your support as well. So again, call or text GIVE 260-436-9598. Billy, why don't you give a shout out to those that you want to give a shout out to that help support you on this hour?
Yeah, so I want to give a shout out to the Fortners, Jennifer and Stu Fortner, who actually have a junior at St. Joe who's on the St. Joe football team, and we actually interviewed him a few times. I also want to give a shout out to my grandfather, Bill Madison Jr. I also want to say, dedicate this shout out to my grandma, who passed away in August, Joan Madison. And then I also want to give another shout out to my other grandma on my mom's side, Paula Dayhut. And then my mom's sister's family, the McDonough family, as well as my parents, Bill Madison III and Courtney Madison.
Yeah, and Billy is Bill by the way, for those listening that get confused, we make the joke every once. Only when Billy makes a mistake do I bring up the Billy Madison jokes. But it's Billy Mattison, Ttison. But there is a reason he is the fourth. So but now I have not asked you this on the air. Was there a reason you decided not to go with Will instead of Billy, because you knew this was going to happen, right? You'd have these jokes.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that when I was born. So
well, I'm not saying change your name altogether,
yeah,
but there's many versions of William you can go by.
No, yeah. I think it's mainly just because, my it's been passed down through my family, so I think every time starting with my great-grandfather, who was the first, his name was Bill, and then it just stuck with my grandfather and my dad and now me. So I think just not deciding to change my name to Will or Liam and to keep it as Billy was just because my dad and grandfather and great-grandfather had the same name. So I wanted to continue that lineage.
Absolutely. But we did get on you. When was the one time I finally made the joke? It's when you – what'd you do? Oh, you overslept. It was the one day you didn't have school. There was a morning practice. Billy no-showed, and I had to tell him the classic line of "We reward you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul." So we had to get the joke in there from Billy Madison. Okay, again, call or text GIVE 260-436-9598 or redeemerradio.com or on the Redeemer Radio app. If you're just tuning in, this is our St. Joe and Marian High School intern hour. These four are our junior interns. They help out with our broadcasts of St. Joe and Marian football, boys basketball, and girls basketball games, and have done an excellent job this year. Let's go around the horn. We'll start with Braedon. What was the toughest part for you during football season taking part in the program?
The toughest number one toughest part was absolutely running the camera for, I want to say it was the John Glenn game.
Okay.
Because it was very rainy. I'd never done camera before. We had to use a camera bag, and I'm decently tall, so I was not. The camera was not at a proper height for me. It was a mess. In terms of a more recurring challenge, I suppose, just like coming up with questions, like a good amount of questions to ask, especially at post-game interviews, or really any interview, just coming up with good leading questions to get a good response out of people. So that would probably be my hardest.
How about for you, Claire? What are some of the challenges you've had to experience and then had to overcome here during the semester?
I think for me there are two. I think the first thing was sideline. That was a struggle, especially. I'm pretty sure the first time I was crying by the end of the game. That was not. Fun.
We don't want you to cry.
Okay. That was only one time.
Okay. See, she didn't tell me that actually you may have actually. We said you're okay. But sometimes sideline's a difficult job. It is. But you've done a good job and you've overcome it, and now I feel like you've gotten a lot of experience here in this postseason as well.
Yeah, and I think I definitely want to do sideline more. Like, it's become one of my favorite things to do. The other thing that was a struggle for me was sectionals and regionals, because those were really big games. So, like, doing social media and sideline, you have to get a lot more information so that everyone knows what's going on. So it's a lot bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, call or text give 260-436-9598, or go to RedeemerRadio.com or the Redeemer Radio app as well. Brian, how about for you?
I think my biggest challenge was doing camera that first game because we didn't have enough headsets at the time. So I ran camera for the entire game without hearing you guys or anything that was going on.
I don't think I even knew that until the game was over, and I'm like, wait,
know
what? You didn't have the headset the whole time?
And then the other time was, I remember it was raining, so we had to do the camera for the St. Joe game inside the box. And I was too short for it because we had the camera on top of a ledge, so I did the entire game standing on two chairs. Like, one leg on one chair, one leg on the other, and that was a rough one for sure.
Yet another thing I wasn't aware of until after the game, because I don't think I would have. Now, the funny part is you didn't do it the whole game, right? You got so tired, you actually got a cool experience.
Yeah, I got to do some producer stuff for a little bit at the end. That was a really cool experience.
So Matt Florian helped out and switched, and then Brian got to be the producer for the fourth quarter. Was that the Holy War game? I think it was the Holy War game.
Might have been, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the Holy War game. Okay, call or text give 260-436-9598. Brian, who do you want to give a shout out to for donation purposes?
I just want to shout out my mom, Linda Gring, for donating today. That's it.
All right, sounds good. Billy, how about your experience and what you've overcome?
I mean, I think the obvious thing here is sideline. Especially since I think I only did two games, and me being new, it's my first time actually doing something like that. So basically, just I couldn't really think of what to say, and even when I thought of some questions to ask before the interview, I still struggled. And but I think my favorite moment's got to be it was the Bremen St. Joe boys game, and I was running sideline, and I had just this was start of the third quarter, and so it was right after I did the halftime interview with Coach Gaff, and so my brain is still like in interview mode, and so after when I was given a report at the end of the report, instead of saying like guys, back to you, I just froze and said thank you, and then froze for like 30 more seconds without saying anything.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't say back to you. It's okay. It's not the end of the world.
And then I finally at the end said back to you. So it's just like that funny moment and right there. And also for the my first time doing it, the Goshen St. Joe girls game, I stuttered a lot, and so I think definitely sideline was a big struggle for me.
And as those are listening here to the St. Joe Marian Intern Hour, you can call or text GIVE 260-436-9598 or go to RedeemerRadio.com or the Redeemer Radio app. We're trying to get to $4,500 in this hour to raise. We're getting closer to that goal, I believe, but we still got some work to be done. So make a call or text GIVE to 260-436-9598 to make a donation on behalf of this hour. Claire, who would you like to say thank you to for making pledges in this hour?
So I would like to thank Sarah Watson, who's my aunt. I'd like to say thank you to Margaret Hosinski, who's my grandmother. I'd like to say thank you to my parents, Jonathan and Ann Watson. I'd like to say thank you to my grandparents, Andrew and Lynn Watson, and my grandmother, Marsha Watson.
Awesome. So thank you to the Watson and Hosinskis for supporting Claire here with donations during our St. Joe and Marian Intern Hour. Again, call or text GIVE 260-436-9598. All right. So we talk about the difficulty of sideline, but how much did that experience help you guys maybe over the course of the year in terms of maybe kind of breaking out of a shell a little bit? I feel like maybe, I don't know, Braedon, I feel like you were already out of your shell. But maybe the other three of you guys, I feel like you were kind of, Brian, I don't think you wanted to do it. And then it felt like, and I think Claire didn't want to do it. And then by the end, you guys are like, oh, I want to do that again. So just what was that experience like, and like just kind of like helping you get along in that regard?
I was definitely really nervous to start with, just coming up with questions and everything. But I think after that first time doing sideline, I just wanted to get back out there because it was so fun running on the field, following all the plays, and then getting to do those heat-of-the-moment interviews. Yeah, it was just great.
How about for you, Claire?
So I think my first sideline game was actually a boys' game. So I remember I was sitting there like the day at school. I'm like, I was sitting the next morning. I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna do this. Like, there's no way Anja's gonna make me do this." And I think after doing it the first time, it increasingly got better, and now it's like one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, we actually have to tell Claire to relax and, actually go to softball practice instead of editing every video and wanting to volunteer for everything. But she's done a great job, and it's great to see that. Who didn't answer this question? Billy did not. Okay, Billy, go ahead.
Wait, can you repeat the question?
I don't know. What did I? Oh, how did sideline break you out of your shell a little bit, throughout the semester?
Well, as I said earlier, first time I did it, I was a little bit nervous. But second time I did it, I felt a lot more comfortable. And I think a big part different played that the first time I didn't have my notes. I didn't realize I could peek down my notes once in a while to remind myself. So I think once I realized I could do that, and once I just felt more comfortable after doing that first time. And yes, I struggled the second time, as I said, but I felt like I was able to say more stuff and prepare more things to say.
Absolutely. All right, Braedon, I'm not asking you that question because you're already out of your shell, but why don't you give a shout out to those that have supported you in this hour?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my parents, Kimmy and Ben Troy, for donating, and also my grandparents, Gary and Barb Troy, and Alan Maggie Martin. They've been watching and listening to a lot of our broadcasts from Milwaukee and Detroit, respectively, so thank you for supporting Hours Away.
All right, we just have a couple minutes left here in this hour. We're trying to get to $4,500. I think we're a little ahead of the feeding process of our donations coming in on the big board here. So I think we're a little bit more ahead than they are down in Fort Wayne right now. Just because I already had the list, they got to do all the work of processing everything and feeding them out. So I don't know if we'll get a final total here in just a moment or not. But just as we wrap up this conversation, guys. I don't want to put you on the spot and say, are you planning to come back? Because I think some of you guys are, and some of you have a lot going on, and you might not be able to. And hopefully we'll do a lot of recruiting to get Braedon to come back. Wait, I wasn't supposed to say that. But, how is this experience now helping you feel like moving into next year as a senior? Just comfort level wise, and just in that regard. Braedon, how about for you in that regard?
Yeah, it's just easier to talk to people like who I ordinarily would not have really interacted with. There are a lot of people just throughout the course of this whole experience, like I, maybe saw in the hallway, but probably have never talked to in my entire 3 years at St. Joe's. So it was really nice just kind of being able to like go out and know that, hey, I can talk to people, ask people questions, whatever, even if that's for like, hey, what was the homework yesterday? So it's nice to be able to have a bit more confidence in that regard, like tiny social interaction, stuff like that. So.
All right, we got 1 minute left. It's actually 6 o'clock, so now we're in bonus time. Call or text GIVE 260-436-9598, RedeemerRadio.com, or the Redeemer Radio app. What was the question I asked? Oh, how's it going to help you as a senior next year, Billy?
I think same thing with Braedon. I think it's just gotten me to be more comfortable with speaking to people I don't speak to a lot. I think it's also going to help me with communicate more with different people. It's gonna and like especially like times when I interview, I think times like interviewing are gonna help me to or allow me to meet new people. Especially like Coach Gaff, for example, this year. I've gotten to really, not like get to know him, but like know him, and like since he's also my health teacher, so I think that's cool that. There are times when like we didn't do it a whole lot because I only had him this semester, but like last semester I didn't talk to him a whole lot. But I think in the future it'd be cool, like when I see him in the hallway, we might say stuff about like if I interview him the day before, we might talk about that, or like I could even the players might say something about it. We could say jokes, especially Coach Gaff. He likes joking around a bunch of different things. So I think definitely just to it helps build relationships with people, especially those that you get to interview and talk to.
All right, we're sneaking in one more pledge here from Leslie Kirzider. We'd like to thank the interns for their service to the Michiana area. Go Knights. Brian, how's it going to help you as a senior? As we're in a little overtime here, but we'll get off the air and get to Catholic Answers Live in just a moment. Go ahead, Brian.
I think it's kind of the same thing everyone's been saying a little bit, where it's just going to help with a lot. Talking to people, because a lot of people I interviewed I had seen before and like talked to them a little bit, but just kind of helped to build relationships with those people. And I'm not really much of a sports guy, so this kind of helped with that a little bit, getting to know more about the game and everything. And like I said before, I really want to go into journalism in college, so I think this whole experience is just going to help a lot with that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You don't have to be just a sports person to be a part of it. It gives you a lot of experience that can help you out in other forms and anything really as well. How about for you, Claire, as you head into being a senior next year?
I think it definitely like broadens my idea of what I want to do in the future, because I know before doing this I was mainly focused on going into like medicine, but now I'm finding I'm very interested in editing film and interviews. I like interviews; those are fun.
You will make more money in medicine. I just want to let you know that. and then in 20 years you can donate to the intern hour and make a pledge of support. So that would be a good way to help out as well. All right, we're gonna sign off for today. This has been our Marian and St. Joe intern hour. You can still make a pledge to help support any of the hours at Redeemer Radio. Just go to RedeemerRadio.com and find the hour that you want. We're midway through now our Spring Sharathon. 2 days down, 2 days to go. So we thank everyone that has donated over the last 2 days. I'm Angelo DiCarlo, Sports Director at Redeemer Radio 95.7 FM. We thank you so much for being a part of our Spring Sharathon. And again, if you missed out on making a pledge, you still can. Just go to RedeemerRadio.com or call or text GIVE to 260-436-9598. So for Billy, Claire, Braedon, Brian, Megan, Teo, who else was here? Kellen, and the principals, Mark Kirzider and John Kennedy. I'm Angelo DiCarlo. Thanks for joining us here on Spring Sharathon.
You're listening to Sharathon on Redeemer Radio, 106.3 FM WRDF, Columbia City, Fort Wayne, 95.7 FM WRDI, Napanee, Michiana, and streaming on the Redeemer Radio app. Stay tuned to your listener-supported local Catholic radio station.